What up? What up? What up? Welcome back. Welcome back to the scorecard, the boxing scorecard, where I encourage people to bring your scorecard and your explanation, not just simply your opinion. All right. We had an undisputed championship fight this weekend. And it was good. It was very good. Mr. Jermell Charlo versus Brian Castano 2. This was the rematch. The first one was a draw, a very controversial draw. I had Castano winning the first fight. To give you my specific scorecard for the first fight, I had it 116 to 112 for Castano. I had a lot of close rounds though. I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 rounds marked as close rounds for that first fight. But I clearly thought Castano won. He got the rematch last night and ended in dramatic fashion. I'm not right with all my predictions, but I'm pretty close with most of them. Last week I picked Vival with the decision. This week I picked Charlo to win by 10th round KO. That's exactly what happened. To go through each round, it was an exciting fight too, and we'll talk about the adjustments that he made during the fight. But to get through each round, the first round, and specifically I had a few close rounds. Well, actually, it was a lot of close rounds marked in this one too. I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rounds marked out of the 10 marked as close rounds. Going through the first round first, Charlo landed a combination and had landed a few more effective punches, even though Castano was the one that was coming forward. That was in that first round. Second round, I marked the first round as a close round. Second round, I marked it clearly for Charlo. He was landing not combinations but single punches more than he's been moving back. More than he's been moving back. He was landing single punches, even though he was moving back. He was still landing a little bit more. Castaño was doing a good job of having that high guard. And when someone has a high guard, someone has that high guard, they're looking more to catch, close the door, and slip to, which Castaño was doing. But, Charlo, you could tell that he made his adjustments. Third round, I marked as a close round. I also gave it to Charlo. Castaño was making it close, but Charlo still landing more. Castaño was landing, but just not enough. Like he was doing what he was supposed to do, just a little bit more offense. But actually, it was also because of how good Charlo's defense was. Fourth round was the first round that I actually gave to Castaño. I didn't mark any notes for that round, but I thought that was a clear round for Castaño. Fifth round, I also gave to Castaño. But I marked that fifth round as a close round. Charlo was winning, but Castaño was fighting. Charlo was doing a good job of boxing that round, but Castaño put it on him more. Like what he was supposed to be doing in the first couple of rounds, he did that in that fifth round. That's why I gave him that fifth round, marked it as a close round, but I gave it to him. The sixth round also marked it as a close round, but I gave it to Castaño. In that round specifically, Charlo, that last round, not the last one, the sixth round, Charlo made a comeback in the last minute. Like he made a comeback in the last minute, but Castaño was I thought Castaño did more in the first 2 minutes of that round. I thought it was clear in the first 2 minutes of that round because Castaño won that. So at the end of the sixth round, it's 57-57, tied up. Going into the seventh round, marked it as a close round. I gave it to Charlo. My specific notes for that one was Castaño was coming forward, but Charlo was landing cleaner. Like you could just see the when I say cleaner punches, like you can see them clearly landing. Sometimes you can even hear it. But Castaño was coming forward and doing what he was supposed to do, just not enough of it. And Charlo was doing his thing in that seventh round. Round 8 also marked it as a close round. Gave it to Charlo. No notes for that round, but it was a close round. Gave it to Charlo. Round 10, my bad. Round 9, also marked it as a close round, but I gave it to Charlo because Charlo was coming forward. But again, Charlo was just landing more. After I got one more round, and I'm gonna get into the details about about the fights even more. Round 9 to Charlo, and then round 10, which I predicted would happen. Charlo stopped him with a short left hook. It was kind of a delayed reaction. Charlo was kind of backing up, caught him with that left hook. Castaño stood there for a second, then he actually took a step back, came down to one knee. He beat the 10 count. He got up, but then Charlo, he's one of the best finishers in the game. Once he has you hurt, it's not too many. Nobody really withstands that onslaught once he has you hurt. Interesting stat that I just found out before. Charlo's won all of his 4 belts by knockout, and he's not even actually known for, I don't know what his knockout percentage is. I think only half of his fights have ended in knockout. I should pull it up real quick. Somebody in chat, look for that for me. Yeah. So Charlo, undisputed at 154 pounds. If he's not on your pound for pound list, something's wrong with that list. Undisputed at 154, and clearly, the best at 150. Well, no, I shouldn't say the best. There's a lot of competition. He's undisputed, but there's a lot of sharks at that 154 pound division. One thing that I encourage people to do after the fight is listen to the post-fight press conference, because the fighters and coaches, they always give you specific details about the fight that they won't necessarily say before the fight. Like, sometimes people will ask questions like, what before the fight, what adjustments are you going to make going into this match? It's kind of, as a fighter and coach, it's kind of hard to answer that question, because obviously you're not trying to give your game plan on what you're going to do. But at the post-fight press conference, when everything's all said and done, that's when they'll give you specific details. So when they asked Charlo what adjustments he made, he simply, he said not to stay against the ropes, which he did. He stayed away from the ropes more. It's actually funny, because when he did land that left hook, he was against the ropes, but he didn't just chill there, because that's when Castaño would have his best offense, is when Charlo would be against the ropes. So staying off the ropes. And he also mentioned just simply landing punches from different angles. I mentioned before, Castaño, he has that high guard, very good defense, keeps it, just perfect fundamentals with his defense. People that have that high guard are looking to catch your jab, close the door, and slip more. So just landing short punches from different angles is what the adjustment that Charlo made. And then his coach, Derek James, one of the most underrated coaches in the game. He doesn't get enough credit for the things that he does. I'll mention more about him in a minute, but he simply said, you have to create the punches that you want to land. You have to create them, and you create them with good footwork, right? You get into a right position to land a certain punch. It's not just simply walking up to your op and just throwing hard. You want to, if there's a specific punch you want to land, left hook, uppercut, straight cross, you have to be in the right foot position in order to land that perfect punch. And Derek James specifically mentioned that, specifically talked how they worked on that during camp, and just talked about like Jermell's knockouts. They are like one punch shots, but like they're set up over time. It's not like he mentioned, you'll get guys like, of course, like Mike Tyson, who just simply have that one punch crushing power. But some other guys, like some other boxers, they set up those knockout punches over time. And, again, over time, creating with that good footwork. So when Charlo mentioned landing punches from different angles, it's not just simply just throwing either straight and then overhand and uppercut, not just simply doing that, but being in the right footwork position to land from those different angles. It could be the exact same punch. It could be a straight cross right in front, straight cross, stepping to the side, straight cross, doing the high-low, right? Punches from different angles. So yeah, man. Derek James, this is like, as a coach, this is what you want, man. As a coach, a professional boxing coach, your goal should be to have obviously your fighter be undisputed in his weight class, but on the pound for pound list. And of course, the pound for pound list is there's no one official pound for pound list. Some people are biased in their list or whatever. But if we could somehow come to some agreement, like there's certain fighters that everyone has to agree on, like Earl Spence, Terrence Crawford, of course. Certain guys that are at the top of that. If those guys are on your pound for pound list, don't even talk to me about boxing. And then there's other guys that could be interchangeable. But anyways, as a coach, when your goals should be to have 1 year guys on that pound for pound list. Derek James has two of them, Earl Spence and now Jermell Charlo. Sorry, the two undisputed champions in their weight class. Two undisputed champions. We're still waiting to see the outcome of Terrence Crawford and Earl Spence, of course. We're still seeing the wait to see the outcome of that. But as of right now, Earl Spence is undisputed at 147, and Jermell Charlo is undisputed at 154. I don't know any other coach in the modern era, as they say, that has those accomplishments at the same time. Like there's I'm sure there's other coaches that might have had that, but that's just that's just simply high level coaching. That's not I think Derek James' name needs to be mentioned more when it comes to the best coaches in the game. Much respect to Derek James. So where do both fighters go from here? Castaño still has a good career ahead of him. He got stopped last night, but he still put up a good performance. Like I said, I marked 7 out of the 10 rounds as close rounds. So 7 out of 10 rounds is close rounds. So he still put up a very good fight, 2 good fights against the undisputed champion at that division. So Castaño against anybody at 154 is a problem. You got Fonfora. This guy, Fonfora, is 6'4" at 154 pounds. Yeah, 6'4" at 154 pounds. And the crazy thing is, obviously you would the logical thing for a tall person is to use your reach, right? You want to keep that person at full extension of your jab. Fonfora, once again, at a 6'4". What up? Pads with bags with pads, my man. What up? But yeah, man, undisputed at 154. Derek James, one of the best coaches in the game, needs to get more credit. And there you have it. Oh yeah, I lost my train of thought there. Castaño and Fonfora, 6'4", 154 pounds. You would think they like to keep you at that long distance, but Fonfora, he actually likes to fight on the inside. So it's kind of, as a coach, that's one of the math problems that you're gonna have to solve, because you would think against a tall person, if you're the shorter fighter, you want to stay on their inside. But Fonfora is actually stronger on the inside. Like, he does better on the inside. His last fight against Erickson Lubin lumped him up. Lubin, known as, he's a power puncher, southpaw, strong. His only loss was actually to Charlo. He had a first round KO loss to Charlo a while ago, but other than that, he was killing everybody. So I actually thought Lubin was gonna take out Fonfora, but nah, man. He did his thing, and so Fonfora is gonna be a problem. Tony Harrison is still a problem. I actually think Tony Harrison is one of the best boxers, like skills-wise, boxers at the 154-pound division. The losses that he's had have only came late in the fight, where he might have just got caught slipping for a second. And but like even in all of his losses and Tony Harrison's losses, he was winning those fights. He just got caught late. So I still think Tony Harrison is a big problem at that 154-pound division. Of course, Earl Spence Earl Spence and Terrence Crawford fighting. Hopefully that fight happens this year. It better happen this year. I ain't trying to wait any longer. What else we got? The other fight that we had was Boots Jaron Ennis against the Canadian Custio Clayton from Nova Scotia. Castio Clayton, a very good boxer from the 2012, either 2012 or 16 Olympics, and he actually won a couple of fights. So he is a very good boxer. He went up against one of the best though last night, Jaron Boots Ennis. He's not he's not up there yet, but he's definitely a problem that anybody at 147, even at 154, has to be careful of. The only thing is, obviously you want to plan for your future as a boxer, but specifically with Jaron Ennis, you just want to make sure you focus on the task at hand. And that was my only concern. I actually picked the Canadian, picked with my heart. I picked the Canadian win by decision. He got stopped. I think it was the second round. It was a punch in the back of the head, though. You guys saw the replay. They showed it in slow motion. At the same time, I always tell my boxers, like, if you remind them, like, when you're ducking under, as low as you get, you still want to keep your eyes up. The mistake that Castillo did when he ducked under, he looked down at the ground, which turned his head down like this, and that's why he got punched in the back of the head. So at the same time, it's kind of his own fault for getting punched in the back of the head. You got to keep your eyes up and your hands up as you're ducking under, not looking at the floor. But still, much respect to the Canadian just for making it to that level. That was his first loss. He's 19-1, 19 wins, 1 loss, and 1 draw. And even in that 1 draw against Sergey Lipinets, I thought he won that fight. So much respect to Castio Clayton. He still has, he's only 34 years old. This is only his first loss in his career, so he still has a good future ahead of him at 147. I still think he's a problem for anybody at that division too. He just went up against one of the best that's out right now, Jaron Boots Ennis, and you can tell his confidence is through the roof, and it's because of his skills. Like he's talk about switch hitting. Everyone knows how good of a switch hitter Terrence Crawford is. When I say switch hitter, I mean someone that can switch from orthodox to southpaw. Terrence Crawford is undeniably the best in boxing at doing that at right now. There's plenty other boxers that are able to do it. And most boxers, if you've been boxing for 10 years or more, at some point in time, even just sparring, you mess around and go southpaw a couple of times. Every boxer knows how to go southpaw, but it's another thing to actually do it in a real fight at the highest level. And that's what Terrence Crawford does. He switch hits at the highest level against the best. So that's why he's clearly the best at doing it. But the reason why I brought that up is because Jaron Boots Ennis looks almost flawless in both stances himself. And the only reason why I don't put Boots ahead is because he hasn't had that competition level yet. Boots Ennis passes the eye test. He passes the eye test against. He's doing what he's supposed to do against his competition that he's fighting right now, taking him out. And I think like I said, he does pass the eye test. But I think people are forgetting because everyone's saying that he's ready to beat Crawford and Spence like right now. Like slow down. I think people forget what Boots is doing to his opponents right now is what Crawford and Spence were doing to their opponents when they were at that level, which is reason why they are looked at one of the best right now. So I'm just telling people, just slow down. He's doing what he's supposed to do against the competition that he's facing right now. As long as he continues doing what he's doing as he moves up, then yeah. If he continues that, he's him and Shakur Stevenson, I believe, are in the future, in the next few years, are going to be looked at as the 2 best in the sport. Jaron Boots Ennis and Shakur Stevenson. Remember, you heard it here first on the scorecard. Any other questions, my man? Pads with Bags. Much love. Thanks for tapping in. Thanks for tuning in. Any other comments or questions about the fights last night? Come on, man. Usually I got a lot of questions in here or scorecards. What you guys want to know? What you guys want to talk about? What do we have next? We got some good fights coming up in the next couple of weeks. From Gervonta and Rolly to, I got Rolly's talking a lot of trash. He's talking a lot of trash, but I think it's going to be a spectacular a spectacular knockout for Gervonta Davis. And yeah, so there you have it. Another week, another scorecard, another explanation. Thanks for listening. Make sure you like and share, subscribe to the channel Talk and Fight every day at 4. My boy Mike Gore. Sunday's going to be at 9:30. The show used to be at 11, but we're going to do it at 9:30. My son got soccer, so got to make it a little bit earlier now. So yeah, so if you can't catch the show live, you can always catch it later. Yeah. Shout out. Make sure you on Sundays also at 4, we got the knockout of the week. So not sure. Yeah, there was a couple of big knockouts this weekend, so I'm not sure which one Mike is going to go with. And so tune in later on this afternoon at 4 for the KO of the week. All right. Thank you very much for listening. I'm out. Peace.